Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. Hi, it's Lyna Nyamwaya here. Thanks for joining us on Bold Influence. I am waiting to see faces come on and join us. Hopefully, you can let me know if the volume is okay. Hi, everybody. Yay! I see you guys coming on. Awesome. Let me share that on my walls in the bathroom, maybe. Awesome. I see more people coming in. I see many eyes. I like that. For everybody watching me, feel free to share. Today, we are excited to learn about housing in America. Of course, that's where we live. So it's important to get the tools and tips on how to be great investors, but also on how to benefit in the system we serve. So you know that I would not even mention, I would be wrong if I didn't mention about housing and how it is a social determinant of health. As a public health nurse, I feel it's my responsibility. Hi, Rose. Hi, Gladys. I see you coming on. Please join us. If I don't say your name, please forgive me. I am excited that you've joined us. And yes, Vanessa, hello. Moire, thank you for tagging everybody. Masimonene, yes, I see you, all of you. Florence, thanks for joining us. Ronnie, if you're watching from wherever you're watching, please share with your network, maybe on your page and your other links, as I try to let everybody come on. So I thank God for this opportunity. I want to share about housing because housing is a social determinant of health, but also it is a tool to build generational wealth. And who but our guest today to share all the tips as a sales coach? Oh my God, watching from Monrovia, are you serious? Welcome, Emmanuel. Thank you. Africa in the house, the West Africa. Hello, Rose. This is huge. I thank you. So I wanted to say that as people who live in this system or wherever you live, you can never go wrong with knowledge. You can even make greater impact if you put action to the knowledge that you have. So today we are going to share as much knowledge as possible. I thank my guest for volunteering information to all of you. But also, I thank you for joining us. So your time is a gift to Roni and I, and I'm looking forward to sharing as much as we can so you can find it worthwhile. So we talk about affordable housing. We talk about poor buildings that can cause, problems like health problems like pests or lead in the buildings. You've seen us talk about lead poisoning in the children. All that is done with inspection, I should say. And then we also talk about generational wealth. And if you've heard me speak about the Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, how Black people built their own kind of village from scratch, it was really about buildings and shops and money and all of this. And we can do that today. I think the beauty of everything that we see in the system is that we can decide to make a difference by creating opportunities for ourselves, but also seeking opportunities to find out what else is out there. And then also tapping into the specialties and people who have learned, like the likes of Roni, to know what can they share and teach us from their specialty. So I am excited today. I don't want to take all your time, but I'm excited to share everything that we need to know. And I will actually put Roni on the test at the end to tell us why Wells Fargo was discriminating against Black people when we were trying to buy homes. There was a huge lawsuit in 2012, for those who remember. Wells Fargo was sued 175 million. But there are many opportunities now, and I think that's what we are trying to avoid, because Roni is here to give you the tips and the tools to grow. So I am excited to introduce Roni, who's been in this country for 20 plus years. He has his family, his wife, and his children. They live here in the Twin Cities, but he's also a pastor turned entrepreneur. He's done ministerial work. He's done sales work for years, like 20 years. He's actually a graduate of this system, so he knows how to navigate the American system. But now he's settled into real estate. So he's going to share tools and tips with us on what that means, who he is, and why should he be the one we are listening to. So everyone, please welcome my guest, my brother, Roni Mugaki.
Thank you for having me, Lena. It's really good to be here. I used to watch you say, "Hey, okay, that's she's flying high." I don't ever go like this, but
Do we need headphones, KK? I think I hear echo.
Oh, you do.
Rose, do we need headphones? Do you have headphones, Ronnie?
Or myself?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so maybe we might need headphones because I hear an echo in the background.
Yeah.
KK, grab me headphones. Mine are on the chair upstairs. All right, as Ronnie gets his headphones on, again, I thank everybody who's joined us. We got about the eyes. I can see there's already 20 people there. I know there's people joining as we go. Thanks for everybody who's tagged, and those who are willing to share, please do. Again, I was just introducing my guest, Roni Mugaki, and he can tell you who he is.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm going to repeat what I said. Maybe there was an echo, but I used to watch Lyna, and I would say, "My God, that lady, she's really killing it, and she's doing so much justice for our community." And I would like, I don't know if you don't even think you'd be on a platform like this. Lo and behold, Lyna called me 3 weeks ago. I was very surprised, and we chatted for almost 45 minutes. It's supposed to be a 3 minute phone call.
Yeah.
And we just realized we have our value system and our goals in life, they align so much. And long story short, we are here talking about this. But yeah, thanks for the intro. And so I I started. Initially, I went to college. I went to India. I was told in the mid-90s, if you want to make money, you need to be an accountant. so I said, okay, you need to work in a farm, and the chief and CPAK and BCom. So I got a chance to go to India and study BCom. And I went to India. I was young, I was foolish, and I was loose. And I didn't even finish my studies. I just used to party. So I went back home and I realized, wow, life is tough, and I really messed up. But so I got employment in this farm, and I was an accounts clerk. And I realized accounting is not for me. It's some people like it, but it's not for me because it's very monotonous. You do the same thing every day. And for me, I just got like, I can't do this. And I saw an ad in the paper, in the Nation. It said they needed people to sell advertising space. And I knew this is for me. I just connected. So I called, secretary picked up, and I was connected to the advertising manager. And, I went for the interview, and I told him, I don't have sales experience, but I know I can sell. And he just saw my enthusiasm, and he hired me. And
Wow.
Within the third month in a sales, I think we were about probably 80 to 100 sales people in a sales pool, where there was a landline, you pick up and you dial numbers. That's how we used to make our calls. And the third month, I was like, I was top 3, and from there my sales career just took off. But after that, I being a young man who was just irresponsible, I thank God because I found Jesus, and I accepted him as my Lord and Savior, and my life changed for the better. And the zeal that I had for sales, now I used to talk about Jesus. I used to talk about Jesus to everyone and anyone who knew me. And but at the same time, my entrepreneurial fire was still there. So I was a youth pastor on one side, but I still had my real estate business on the other side. So I did both. And then that's when we came to the US. We came with my family, our son at that time, and we landed in O'Hare with 3 suitcases and $250. And so I went to Bible college, and then I got my bachelor's, and then I went on to do my master's in pastoral studies. And by that time, I knew God has called me to this land to preach the gospel. And I was so excited. And so I joined this church and they said, man, we're looking for people like you, church planters. You're not just a normal pastor. You're a pastor who's also an entrepreneur. You know how to build people together, bring them together, cast a compelling vision and people to follow. And I said, that's me. And he asked me, where do you want to go? I said, it has to be a city. I want an urban environment. And so a situation opened up whereby they needed someone to plant a church in Minneapolis. And, I was praying it would be the South or West Coast where it's warm, because we had been in Chicago for a long time. But God put in my heart, no, I'll take you to, the coldest place that, and so he brought us to Minneapolis and we landed in 2015. Yes. And I started calling people and, casting a vision for the church and this and that. And we got 50 adults and their families to join our church. And our launch, we had about 300 people, which was a short of a miracle. And then in 2017, the assignment left. I left the assignment. And then I said, okay, I'm not pastoring now. And so I went to the not-for-profit world. It was a nice business, excellent. I mean, what they do for feeding people around the world was excellent. But it was too slow for me. People are too nice. And I felt there's something more. I mean, the job seemed glamorous. I used to travel all over the US. The airports were my office with my laptop. But I felt it was so, I quit that and I said, I need to be in the business world. So I applied to a Chrysler dealership just next to my house, and I got the job. And man, once again, I was energized, talking to people, cutting deals, selling cars. And, so up to about last year, I think June, I was a top selling sales guy. And I thought, wow. But I felt, is this it? Really? There's something more. And at that point, the managers of Mercedes, they heard about me here in Bloomington, and they called me and they said, come work for us. I think you'll do well. And so I went. I thought this was a step up, Mercedes luxury brand, right? Yeah. So I went there, but the first day I sat on my desk, I knew I had made a mistake. After meeting with HR and feeling, I knew it, God put in me, made a mistake. But I said, you know what? The next 3-4 months from September to December, I'm going to work as hard as I can. But things didn't go so well, and my deal started backfiring for no apparent reason. And I said, what am I doing here? But there are 2 people that I sold 2 cars that opened my mind. And these were multimillionaires, because one guy bought a car for $160,000 and the other guy bought a $100,000 car. But wow. I realized these people are not more educated than me. They don't have better skills than me. They are businessmen. Why am I seated behind a desk making someone else rich and selling myself short? And so as I'm thinking that, another 2 days, a realtor walks in. He walks in and I say hi to him. I could tell he's Nigerian. I asked him, what do you do? He said, I'm a realtor. He gave me his card. It said Keller Williams. I looked at it. I said, wow, just the way he was free, and I talked to him a bit and he told me, man, because I had sold cars to realtors and they told me, you'd be a very good realtor. And he told me the same thing. He told me, you would be a really good realtor. And I thought, God is saying something here. God is saying. So I came home and my wife had been telling me, you should go back to real estate. Go back to real estate. And so she connected with another lady, friend of ours, very nice lady, Tony Kera. We met for coffee. She explained to me about her brokership. And I thought, yes, I think that's what So in December, I quit my job at the dealership. They were very shocked. I told them it's not working out. My dreams are too big to be confined behind this desk. In January, I went to realty school. I went back and got my certification. I got it. And February, I was up and about and I was ready. And then you know what happened end of February, beginning of March. Yeah. So so that's my journey. And I'm so excited at what I am doing now, because it gives me time to be with my family and to think big, to aim high, to be bold, and to meet people. I like mentoring men, young men as well, and to just be a support to pastors as well. I have time on my side. as well as to make a difference in people's lives, back home in Kenya. So I like what I do right now. I really do.
I like that. And that
Yeah.
actually is a beautiful thing that you just shared. So for
Hmm.
those who are listening, Roni was a salesperson from selling ads all the way to realty, and then he kind of left there. He went to the church Bible school. He's trained as a pastor and qualified to do that. And then he kind of sits there and he's like they say the bold and the restless. So he's ready to
Yes.
find things out there. But I think the conclusion is you're saying that you have a lot of sales experience, and what we are
Mhm.
hearing is a lot of
Yeah.
tools of how you don't want to settle. I think that's what you learned from being in this rich space of Mercedes, is that's now you don't have to, money doesn't make you happy. It's about
No.
finding your calling that will
Yeah.
throw you there. So I would say, you said what happened in February, which brings me to the next question then I would ask.
Yeah.
And you're here as a sales coach, you're here as a realtor trying to tell people to buy houses. So,
Yeah.
how has Corona affected the housing market, and what should people be doing?
That's a really good question, Lina. In February, end of February, beginning of March, no one knew anything about Corona. There were all these myths and miseducation, and people are going to the stores and buying buying napkins and tissue
Toilet
paper
paper.
because, yeah, and no one knew. And people thought, here comes 1998 again. We are finished. Our economy is going to go, and places were shutting down and lockdowns, and it was a very grim time. I remember. There was an executive order. Apart from healthcare workers, you wouldn't believe it, but real estate agents were considered essential at that time. So I
Nice to
used
know. I didn't even know that.
yeah, they were considered essential. So I used to drive. I drive on 169 going to Burnsville. I would be the only car for a good 5 to 6 minutes
I
on
love
the
that.
highway. So one thing I didn't get the memo that we're not supposed to be going to the office. So me as that new guy to brokership, I still used to go in, and our CEO would wave at me and I would sit at my desk. But I realized the top performing agents, mega agents, were in the office. So I realized there's something they know that I don't know. There's something they're doing right. So I got to, because where I had put my desk, it's near where we do our photocopying. They would come and say hi to me, and I would get free additional coaching because there was time. There was no one else in the office. But to answer your question, how Corona affected the housing market, it did not affect the housing market at all. In fact, people were saying now the housing market is going to collapse. It did not at all. So one thing, if you remember, Corona really affected people in the service industry, retail industry. But once you go higher in the income levels, as far as people still had their jobs. So when those people were still willing to buy, people in healthcare, people in insurance, I mean, people were still buying houses. They were still interested, and spring was coming. So people had prepared their houses for the spring market. Others did withdraw them, but they prepared their houses, and houses were going. I tell you, I sold a house. This was in March, April. It sold in 3 days. In
Wow.
3 days, cash, in Northeast Minneapolis. So from then on, that's when I got a light bulb moment. Like, wait a minute. And even then, I had a big property. It's still out there, a $2 million property. People were still calling me. Investors were still calling me. People from Texas were still calling me and looking at the land via Google Earth and things like that. And it went on. So Corona did not affect the housing market at all. And statistics have showed us that this was the highest grossing time for real estate, going way back, I think, to, is it 1990? I think 95, 94, thereabout.
Okay.
So yeah, and prices were going up, and there's a low inventory. It's not just here in Minnesota. So houses are few, so of course prices go high. And there was a bidding war. And people are going way over ask. And even if you ask them, if they've been approved for 350 and they offer 375, they're saying, I'm going to pay the extra 25,000 from my pocket. So yeah, so it's still a really interesting time.
So for me, I hear you say that those who are rich and were able to buy, they still bought. Those who
Yeah.
are well off and had invested and planned, they were still able to invest. I
Right.
think I must throw a disclaimer that Corona, yes, and yeah, thank you. And I will share this post here from Joseph that is saying about how Corona really boosted the housing market. The low interest rate
Exactly.
increased the mad rush for housing,
Yeah.
and it's a seller's market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. And I want to acknowledge everybody coming on, Jane and Simon and Emmanuel and Sarah and Eunice and Gladys. We see you. What I wanted to share is what Ronnie said is that when we talk about from a public health standpoint, and that's different, is those people who live in poor housing and low income areas. I think they're the ones who are probably more affected because they could not socially distance and do all these other recommendations that were said. But going back to Ronnie's story, he's just showing how there are opportunities out there. If you have invested, if you're planning on investing, if you're thinking about buying, which then brings me to the next question for Ronnie, which is, so would you recommend renting or buying?
In this market right now, buying. So here's the thing. This is what I tell. I tell people, if you are renting, and if you're paying anything more than $800 a month, $1,000, you have a full-time job, you have the capacity to buy your own property. So if you are renting, really you're paying someone else's mortgage, you're making someone else rich. And I've come to realize, my pastoral job has really also it ties into this, because I find myself as a counselor as well, because not only is it it's a tough decision when you tell a first-time home buyer buy a home. That's something big, right? They're thinking no. So if they are single, most people who are first-time home buyers, they think, no, first I need to get married. First, I need children, then I'll buy a home, and they're thinking, I'm single, all my peers are single, so why am I buying a home? So that's the myth number one. Number two, let me give this story. A friend of mine, he moved into here, Shakopee, and he told me, man, you should see those new apartments near Hy-Vee. They are so good. I'm like, yeah, you should come and see my apartment. He said, my apartment. I said, oh, what do you mean? And he said, how much is the rent? He said, 1,500. How many bedrooms? 2 bedrooms. And I was like, my brother, no, that's not your apartment. That's someone else's apartment.
Wow.
And I told him, you're paying someone else's mortgage. And I told him, for how much you're paying, you would most likely move into everything else held constant, a $350,000 home, 3-bedroom, 2-car garage with a basement. And why are you wasting money? You should have seen his jaw just dropped,
Wow.
But I told him, don't worry. Now that you've demonstrated that you have the ability to buy a home, you if you can be paying 1,500 a month, you're more than ready. So I'm working with them right now. I think next year June they should be ready,
Okay.
and they're already taking to lenders. So number one, it's a mindset, because probably all your peers are paying rent. This is what we do, we pay rent. And number two, you don't need, and I'm going to tackle something. I know what's coming ahead. You don't need perfect credit. Some people think, man, I need that 800 credit score. No, you do not. There are lenders who will work with you for even as little as 600. Lenders will work with you. Surprise, surprise. In some cases, even 580, some lenders will work with you. Yes, your interest rate will be a bit higher, but you can always refinance. Number three, so for those who are single, right? You can buy a 3-bedroom house and you rent those other 2 bedrooms to your friends, and I have one friend who's doing that. Very young guy. I was very impressed by him. So you can do that. But it starts by thinking, how can I start building wealth? And I'll tell you something, Lyna, I know you know, and some of our viewers know that the US economy, 20% of the US economy is actually about housing, real estate, and its affiliated, construction and real estate. 20%. That's why it doesn't matter who is president, whether it's Trump or Biden or Kamala. they will always safeguard the real estate market, always, because they know this is what drives our economy. This is how wealth is built, right? So don't hold yourself back thinking, oh no, I need to be ready. No, this is the time. This is the time.
I like that. Very cool. So what you're saying is telling people if they can afford it, if they can afford a $1,500 rent, they can
Yeah.
actually afford a mortgage. And I think I'll bring you back to share kind of the advantages and disadvantages of renting versus buying. But I think then we talked about this, and I think I was asking you to share with our viewers, those who are watching. I think there's a comment from Jane. Maybe we can just put that up so you can see. We bought a house in May, just when COVID started. We were so scared the
Excellent.
market may crumble, but it was the best decision ever.
Yeah.
Prices are still going
Yes.
up. Well, good for you, Miss
Excellent, Jane.
California girl.
Yeah.
And in California, by the way, I'm telling on you, Miss Jane. I'm proud of you. Yeah, so we have Californians watching. Hey, Texas. Hey, everybody. Thank you. So I wanted to also share, and this is actually a teaser for Ronnie before I ask him another question. Jane is the one who said, you came with 250. Well, that was a lot. We had 100. So
There you go. There you go. Wow. Let me tell you, I'll tell you, Lina, before you go to, we are so resilient. We are so resilient. That's a story. That's a story. Wow. Well done. Yeah. Wow.
And she bought a home. That's the same person.
Yes.
So I think we all have stories. That's why I love sharing this. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So if I can bring it kind of to those people then who may feel like, so I think what you said is like, number one is mindset. Number two is just finding the right person like you who will guide them to finding the lenders who will work with them, and then kind of give them the extra tips, because every story is unique. You have to see what their credit is, what they have, and what they want. And then, there's a question maybe before I move on to the next question. Up there, it's saying, Ronnie, can you say something about down payments, FHA, and PMI?
Yeah. So, an FHA loan is a Federal Housing Association loan. It's most first-time home buyers actually start with FHA loans, and it's a good way to start if you don't have strong credit, or you're not earning six figures. FHA loans are really good. So you need a down payment 3.5%. Joseph Mecha, thank you so much for that question. And 3.5% to put down. But on top of that, before I forget, even with that, on top of that, you can get first-time home buyer concessions. So whatever county you live in, you can still be able to get some help for first-time home buyers. So in fact, I saw like the city of St. Paul has just gone bonkers. They've gone crazy. They are saying, I think something like, if you earn up to, I think, $35,000 or $70,000 for combined household, they can give you a huge chunk as down payment now for first-time home buyers, particularly if you are, a minority. So that's what they are doing. And this again was accelerated by, when George Floyd died and social injustice and things like that. So with that, and Lina will speak to this, you may have to pay, which will be incorporated in your loan, mortgage insurance. And that is just, the mortgage company is just saying, you know what, we are going to take you as a customer, but we're also going to insure your loan. In case you default, we are putting these fees so that in case you default, we get our money. But if you are well-qualified and you have more than 20% in most cases, then you will not have to pay that private mortgage insurance. So that's what it is. Joseph, thank you for that question. That's a really
awesome.
So, in short, there are programs out there to help you. Yeah.
Awesome. I see you, Boaz, and I see you, Marie. Great information, and Esther. So I think that is kind of where we were going, Ronnie, to the next question, which was, guys, what are the tips? Or you probably have 100 tips. Can we just say maybe 3 to 5 tips for first-time home buyers? Maybe let's say 3. just
Okay.
for the sake of the show. And then if you need more information, by the way, Ronnie's a pastor. He'll pray for you and teach you. So you have an opportunity to reach out to him personally. His name is Roni Mugaki, Mugaki. I think it's on the flyer. He's on Facebook. He has a page, and I will share his link at the end.
Yeah. So a good tip is, if you're planning to buy a house, say you're planning to buy in February next year, stay in the same job or in the same line of career. So if you're a nurse, continue being a nurse. Don't decide, like nursing, now I'm going to become a chef, because they need to see consistency. So stay within your job. Try and have good payments. Keep up your payments for your credit cards or whatever you have, any loans, so that by the time they're checking your credit, you don't have any adverse remarks and things like that. Have some savings. So typically, you might get a down payment of 3% or 3.5%. So start saving. If you don't have saving, give yourself some time, 6 months, 8 months, so that you've accumulated at least 3.5% or more. So if you have more than that, even better. Another thing is that, start talking to me. Talk to a realtor and let me hold your hand. Let's talk. I will introduce you I work with different mortgage lenders. And why I do this, because I know, I have one that I work with. He specializes in our community. He understands our challenges and he knows everything. And I also have another lender who, understands different people and he works with them. So, and they'll run your credit, look at your income, and they'll tell you, well done, you are approved for such and such amount. So that's a tip I can give.
That's amazing. And I think a lot of people are looking at you and are looking forward to this show, because some of them are new immigrants or just new to real estate, to buying houses. So I think it's important that we share those tips. So what I'm hearing you say is that you said, they want to see consistency. So whatever that means is like they're keeping that job or keeping the income. And then someone is asking, actually, that's a good 2 questions. I'll put the first one up first. Is it advisable to pull money down payment from your 401k?
So this is what I told Lina before. That's a really good question, Stella. I like staying in my line of business. I am not a financial consultant, and I would not want to give you advice on something like that. The best person to talk to is your tax accountant and see if it makes sense. So that's a tough one.
That makes sense. And I think for me, Stella, it's also more like, what's the intent? Because we've had this conversation before where I've shared in a different live, and you can go watch that, about taking loans from your 401k. You have 60 to 72 months to put it back. After that, it's a penalty. So the point is, are you going to be able to pay it back, or is this something that you're willing to take out as a penalty? And then I think another question that I was going to ask you is, you said stay in the same payment plan job to maintain consistency, have some savings. And what I heard you mention is 6 to 8 months of planning. So don't just go do something without actually planning, because that consistency comes to the fact that, can you afford it? So by saving that money in 6 months, I think that's what it's saying. And I think one thing that we also forget is that in this community, they talk about, like in America, of get money from your loved ones or borrow from this and do that. I think the reality is, at the end of the day, you're still going to be able to pay that money back. So make sure you have a plan on how to put that money back. And I think Ronnie shared something important, which is why I brought him here today, is to say, have someone who knows what they're talking about hold your hand. So having a realtor who knows our humble beginnings and the challenges of having to translate that real estate language into what makes sense to us is very important. So a question from, Dr. Judy, I seen you. Buying a house is just like finding a spouse. I love that.
That's
so do your work and do your part, which is a huge financial decision. Thank you, Dr. I like that one. And I think then the other thing I would say is any advice that, somebody's asking something before I forget them. Is it advisable to take 15 or 30-year mortgage?
That's a really good question, Gladys. Again, it depends on your goals. I have friends who've taken out 15-year mortgages and they want to be really aggressive and be done with. Others are saying, after all, my house is appreciating. So, let me have those low payments, but my house is appreciating more than I can. So, it's really your goals. Again, talk to your whatever lender, they'll give you the figures, like the lenders I work with, they really break it down for you and give you the pros and cons. Also, it depends on your interest rates, what interest rates are you getting? That factors into the calculation. So it really depends on your goals, but that's a really good question.
And I should not forget that Joseph has commented before that. Evelyn's commented kind of to back up what you said or what I said, which was it's like taking out withdraw unless you're willing to put it back, or you can take it out completely and just face penalties for now and then invest in the house. Once again, that's individual. It's unique based to your needs. You'll have to make that decision. And I think sorry, go ahead.
No, I see. I mean, if you have a very healthy 401k funds there, and you just want to, let's say you have 200,000 in your 401k, and you just want to take out 10,000 for down payment. I mean, so it's neither here nor there, but it really depends on what you want to do. So your tax accountant will be very helpful in that. I have one who's really good. She does a really good job. But those are really good questions.
So awesome. So the other thing I would say in that same regard is for those who have an IUL, and I was going to pitch in for that one as well. A lot of people do not know how you make money from your money. So if you have a permanent life policy that is an indexed universal plan that is growing at a compounded interest, you don't even have to think twice about it. Because unlike 401k where you'll face penalties, in there, since it's after taxes, you can take out a lot of money, use it for your down payment of your house, use it for whatever that you need to do for your repairs of your house, and it will still be like something that you took out without the pressure of like, oh my God, I got 60 months to put it back. So I think there's so many opportunities about learning this. And for me, I do this to empower our community because the financial economic education is missing. So we just need to have the right people. For those who are interested, again, or those who actually have invested in a 401k, or IUL, you already see your money. So you can attest to that. For those who've been my client for the last few years, you can already see your money. I think there's a comment here. Joseph said, yes, you can take a loan out of your 401k. If you have a permanent life insurance policy, it will be more advantageous to pull money from that. Yep, that's exactly what I said. So somebody's saying this, Ronnie. Another option is USDA loan.
Yeah. So there are certain. I don't know if is she in Minnesota? I don't know. But there are certain. Okay, Evelyn, that's a really good comment. So even Minnesota, certain counties that you are approved for a USDA loan because their towns are considered kind of agricultural towns, and they're it's an incentive for you to move there. For example, I live in Shakopee, just down the road here in Jordan, Minnesota. There's zero down payment. Places like Elko New Market, those are places you can get a USDA loan, and they're just trying to. Okay, Evelyn is in Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah, so they're just trying to encourage people to move into their towns. So that's something else you can consider. By the way, Lina, something we've forgotten: veterans. If you've been served in the U.S. Armed Forces, you can get a VA loan, zero down payment. Literally, we just give you the key, and you enter your house. So if you served in the armed forces in the US, this country takes care of people who have served in the armed forces, and that loan is as good as cash. So, and right now I'm working with 4 veterans right now. In fact, this afternoon I was just showing one a house, and they are so smooth. I mean, every transaction is different, but the veterans I'm working with, they are really good at giving information and taking care of their veterans.
I love that. So I've heard so many things, and I think the important thing is to know that there are options out there. You mentioned like a city like St. Paul that is really focused on building minorities and giving them an opportunity to close that housing gap, the existing that is there. If you live in your city, I would always say for our viewers, I know the number is going up with as many viewers coming on. I want to say that check with your city. Your city is only a phone call away. Go to their website, dig up and see what resources are there for you, and then call them and find out who can help you, can guide you to know what resources are there. I think that's what Roni was saying, because depending on your city, they will have resources for you there. And then, like Dr. Judy said, do your homework. Find out where you want to move to. If you want to move to Jordan and get that agricultural loan, you just got a tip from Roni. You can move down there and just live in the country. We are not afraid to live anywhere as immigrants. You guys know that. We can live anywhere. I think another thing I would mention is that you did say that I think the most important thing is to stay disciplined and see where is this taking you. I want you to just touch a little bit, and then we can finish on generational wealth and why that is important in owning a home. I know you kind of mentioned it in passing. Let's just hone in on that generational wealth and why that's important.
Yeah, you know, I'm so blessed to have been exposed to in the car business. I've seen money changing hands, and now in real estate. And I remember I would see parents come in and they lease a car for their 16-year-old, you know, Wazungu, for their 16-year-old, you know, and they're doing something. They're building that child's credit so that by the time the girl or the guy is 19 after high school, he has perfect credit. They're already setting them up for success. And if you go back, and I think Lyna, you touched on this, how just this country was founded. It was unjust for Black people how it was founded, but we do have an opportunity here that because a house is an asset that's gonna be appreciating year after year. By the way, you know, people say, "Oh, when is a bubble going to burst?" No, this is not like 1998. What happened? 1998 was different. You know, the banks were just doing, you know, crazy business, inflating and things like that. That would happen. The market might self-correct just a little bit, but none of that. But I think what was, you buy a house and it's going to appreciate. Like we bought ours about 3 years ago after I left pastoral ministry, and we have already 60,000 in equity. 60,000. And my wife and I have said, you know what, this first house this one is for our kids. This is for our kids. And we're praying in the next few years, we're going to deed them this house. And there's something that's going to click in their minds that, wow, this is what happens. And I hope they can even deed it to their children, you know, and things like that. So generational wealth, this country has set up to be successful financially as far as. And again, real estate is the easiest avenue to be able to build generational wealth. So I tell my friends, stop renting, stop renting. If you're renting, fine, but I hope it is not for the long term. That is generational wealth. I saw a post on Facebook, a guy I follow. He bought his 13-year-old daughter a home, a town home. It's in her name. You saw that as well, right? It's in her name. And I thought, why can't we do that? You know, we sometimes in our community, when our children reach 19, we tell them, Aya, Kwenda, go and build your life. Whereas, you know, most Americans will tell their daughters and their sons, you live in the basement, you save. Why are you going to, you save? And how much do you have in your savings? You have 25,000. I'm giving you another 50,000, you know? But us, we've chased our children away that, when mkubwa, Kwenda. No. So it's really important to start thinking about generational wealth in many avenues.
I'm glad you said that. And I'm going to, hey, Kaki, I see you from Arizona, Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, all in the house. I want to say that what Roni just mentioned about generational wealth, the only reason those people are able, those who give gifts, whether they are of whatever race, black, white, brown, it's because they have good planning. And those who know me screaming about using insurance for generational wealth, that is where that comes in. Roni talking about buying a 13-year-old a home. We saw that happen, and many people are doing it, by the way. It's a matter of investing in that IUL for them from age 0. By the time they turn 13, it is a few thousands. And guess what? They can afford to cash it and pay that. That's the cash value of that IUL. And I know that a lot of you don't know what that is. Those who've reached out, congratulations. Those who are yet to know, I am here to educate and empower you. And then you can also get a house from Roni and get the coaching that you need to be a real estate agent or realtor. We claim generational wealth for our children in Jesus' name. Miss
I
Jane,
like that. Yeah.
with the kind of sharing you are sharing, you're educating many of us. Awesome. Yes. So, and I think on that note, I want to ask, oh, yeah. Hi, Stella. Thank you for tagging. Thank you for everybody tagging. I'm not ignoring you. I see you there. I just want to stay on track because we are at 8:44. So I don't want to keep Ronnie here for too long. I'm sure everybody's busy. All of you, your time is a gift to us. I want to mention that you want to walk away with some nuggets that are going to help you create some changes and create some action that is going to stop this roller coaster of running to work constantly, punching in without knowing when it's going to end. Because if you don't plan, what does your retirement look like? Because remember, at age 65, you're not going to be hustling as much as you're hustling now. Life kind of slows you down a little bit. At age 70, you may not be able to work as full-time as you're working now. But if you plant your trees today, at that time you'll be harvesting your fruit and enjoying like everybody else. So Ronnie, do you have your last words, and then we can finish this? Thank you so much.
Yeah, not a problem. So a few things, this is what I tell even my customers, and I tell them honestly, I hope we do business with you because I want to know you first and foremost. I want to know you, your family, and things like that. That whether we do business together or not, I want to be your friend. And you won't believe how many friends I've gotten by just that line, and we've ended doing business. Secondly, if you're in business, come from a place of helping. Come from, you just don't want to just close the deal. That won't help. Come from of helping and adding value. If you're a leader at work, cast a compelling vision. The people that you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, do it. Ask them, how can I help you achieve those goals? It will be amazing. And also in business, let it be a win-win situation. Gone are the days, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, I win, I take all and I take off. No, even multinationals right now, it's not about that. It's about win-win. I get some, you get some, so that we continue doing business. Last but not least, aim high, think big, and be bold in Jesus' name.
Amen. I like that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So I want to thank my guest. First of all, I want to thank all you viewers. Agree, I see you. Arizona in the house. Stella, Texas in the house. Dr. Judy, yes. Minnesota is represented. I don't want to ignore anybody that is watching. And please, if I can't see you, please forgive me. Caroline, Dennis, all of you that have joined us, we appreciate you. Gladys Casmo, that's Atlanta in the house. We thank you. Jane, California. So thank you for all of you for joining us live. And I think for the live broadcast, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge all of you and thank you for your time. Of course, I would thank God for the gift of life and this opportunity to share, educate, and empower each other. And as Roni finishes, thank you for sharing your wisdom, going from pastor to entrepreneur. We respect that. We honor you. We wish you the best. And keep winning out there and educating us. And of course, you have to come back and share specific tools on how to become a realtor, because I'm sure there's other people wondering, oh, how do I do that then? And how much do realtors make? And what does that look like? Because I'm sure there's all those questions.
Yeah. And if you're interested, you can always send me a message on my Facebook account, and that's my business account as well. Let's sit, let's talk, I'll share with you what I know and how we can make it.
Yes, and that is always amazing. And really, the reason we do this, for those who are wondering, you know me as an educator, I love to share knowledge. That's the only effortless way we can change lives. But I also believe that when you get this information as you walk away, it's not going to help you until you implement something from it. So action is where the power is. So go do something with yourself, empower yourself. Stella wants to be a realtor. So Stella, Ronnie is available. Don't call me. Inbox him and he can help you. I'm not a realtor. So he
yeah. Let's talk, Stella. Let's talk. Slide me a DM.
There you go. And thank you everybody who's come on. And I think Dr. Judy, I think Ronnie's done real estate for a long time. He just went back to his roots. That's what he was saying. And I think that's why he's a natural. But as a sales coach for 20 plus years, and I think someone willing to give and guide, the community from a leadership perspective. I think it's important to be with someone who's trusting and coaching and all of that. So yeah, reach out directly to him, Roni Mugaki. He's got a page, he's got a Facebook private profile. You can use the messenger, like he says, slide him a DM. If you want, you can also reach out to me if you feel like you can connect with him. That's okay. Please remember to like his page, like my page, subscribe. And we thank you all for being here. May God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Yes.